GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to Boliga, where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the G&T Show, episode 265. Also, it's January 22nd, 2017, for Michael Hinman. I'm Terry Lynn, and across the table is Gettysburg 7.
Jolan True, bitches. And look at Terry today in her stunning, I say, satin blue, satin and silver. It's beautiful. Is that Vera Wang that you're wearing today?
Yes.
Oh, that was very anticlimactic.
My brain farted. I was like, come up with another designer, Terry. And I was like, no, too tired. Sorry.
And there he is to my left, your right. Today wearing his Hanes Fruit of the Looms. It's Ceridium.
Kapla. This suit is designed by my man, Murray.
By the way,
he works the corner on 14th and 5th.
If I've told you once, I've told you a million times, Mike. That's not how they measure pants.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Sunday morning, and an interesting start to the day. Yes, if you're here to hear what's going on with Axanar, yes, we will be discussing it relatively briefly today. We wanted to, but if you want to get the lowdown and the deep cuts, is that the lowdown? Please, we are going to refer you once again to Semantic Shenanigans at their site. They do have a post up. Janet already put up a post, and they will be discussing.
Hi, Janet.
Hi, Shanna. Hi, Janet. And
hello,
they will be
Bada.
discussing it.
Hello, baby girl.
And they'll be discussing it, but we will as well. But again, it's not our life's consumption. Oh, I'd rather be talking about a whole bunch of other stuff too. Mikey, what announcements do we have with regards to other Busy Little Beaver productions? We have something going on with Live Love
Totally
Play,
caught
right?
him off guard.
I know.
Yeah, I was like,
why am I getting email spam for Cindy Crawford's Meaningful Beauty?
'Cause you're beautiful.
Okay. We did get a little something from Ross over at Live Love Play. He says, "Hey guys, Ross here from Live Love Play with an update on my channel and its content. I'm live streaming three times a week on Twitch, twitch.tv/subsailor688. This Monday at 3 p.m. Central, I'll be kicking off my run of Transformers War for Cybertron. If you're a fan of the old cartoon, which I am, and not Michael Bay, you might enjoy this. Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central, I'll be continuing my insurgency against the Advent Coalition in XCOM 2. If you like tactics and a good underdog story, then this is for you. On Saturday at 5 p.m. Central, I'll be continuing my playthrough of Watch Dogs. If you like intrigue, guile, and vengeance, this is the game for you. In addition to my live broadcasts, you will find my entire library of live stream highlights as well as archived broadcasts. The archives don't stick around forever, so check them out before they're gone. On iliveloveplay.com, I posted a highlight from my first session with Watch Dogs, as well as my first impressions of the game. Last week, I covered a week-long fundraiser marathon hosted by gamers and benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Tomorrow, I'll be posting my recap of the event. Let's see. On my YouTube channel, you'll find a selection of live stream highlights as well as the library of my interviews with authors, filmmakers, and creators of all kinds. I repost my content all over Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, and Twitch, so look me up and enjoy. Thanks for listening, and special thanks to the host, there's only one of us apparently, of the GNT show for their patronage and support. This is Ross, signing off, and remember to live, to love, and to play every day.
Yay. And
well, thank you for joining us for the show. That's all the time we have after Ross's announcement.
And anything
It's just
going
showing
on?
that he's busy.
I know. I'm glad too. I think I have him. By the way, if you have a Twitch account and you follow me, I believe my channel also hosts Live Love Play when it runs. So if you happen to swing by my channel and Live Love Play is on it, that's because if you've got a channel, you can host another person's feed. It's the coolest thing. I love Twitch very, very much. Let's see here.
And he's got this new thing that he's getting ready to kind of sort of launch here in the next week or so.
What?
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. It wasn't in the press release.
Well, he already announced it.
Did he?
Yeah, on Facebook they put up a picture of the ultrasound and everything.
Oh, I was talking about the other thing, but yeah, that's pretty cool too.
Oh
Congratulations,
my God.
Pops.
Yeah, congratulations, Ross and Ray. They're pregnant. I'm so excited.
So he wasn't shooting blanks.
Oh, okay. So he's giving me permission. He's going to be doing, and I'll be taking part. I think other people that we know will be taking part as well. But we're going to be doing the kind of they're like D&D games.
Oh yeah, the D20
Cobalt,
games.
Yeah, Cobalt is one, and there's this other one that for some reason I couldn't sign up for. It wouldn't let me for some strange reasons. I'll try again later, but yeah, we're kind of excited.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I think they said that they were going to try and aim for Tuesday nights.
Yes.
Cool. Because I think that works out best for me, especially when the summer comes up. So, yay. Anything going on with the O Sports Show?
I checked their website. Their last post or the last episode was on the 9th. So we should be seeing something from them probably in the next week or two.
Awesome. All right. Well, that kind of does it for we're done with the busy little beaver stuff. But it's nice to be able to start off to let you guys know and that the G&T show and your support of the G&T show has helped other podcasters with other interests.
Yeah, we got
well.
friends in low places.
So when you support the G&T show during our annual fundraiser, the servers actually cover everybody, and we really do appreciate your help and your support.
I saw what you did there, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Blame it all on my roots. Yep. I showed up in boots and ruined your black tie affair. Everybody.
I don't
Last one. You don't know that song, Terry?
I know of it. I don't know it. I don't know how to sing it.
Shake my head in general disgust in your direction.
There's a secret third verse too.
There is.
Oh God.
He only does it live because it's inappropriate for country radio.
All right.
So,
yes.
My wife and I have discovered a show starring a Star Trek alum that is really, really good. Produced by Ridley Scott and also produced by said Star Trek alum Tom Hardy, starring Tom Hardy. It's on FX and it's called Taboo. It's very, very good, Terry.
Oh my God. Sorry. I was waiting to sneeze, so I had to mute my mic. I had heard of this. I think the Ferrises were talking about it. I don't know if they watch it or not, though.
Well, it just started.
It just started? Okay.
Yeah, it was just the second episode. It's really good. With Tom Hardy, he's Bane, so,
Well, the one thing about Tom Hardy is that he's a lot like Gary Oldman. Right?
Yes, he's a chameleon.
He can do anything. And I would not, and here's the thing. He's such kind of an everyday kind of guy. I wouldn't recognize him.
Yeah, you would. You would recognize Shinzon in this, even though he's got a beard and mustache, and his voice is very. But it's funny because we were talking yesterday about him, and she said something about even though set in like 1812 or 1814, so he's very dirty. Everybody's very dirty.
Oh, so this is not a documentary? Because I remember a show several years back called Taboo, where they kind of looked. It was a weekly documentary type of show, where every week they looked at something that's considered taboo in today's world or whatever. It was okay. So this is not that show.
We're not talking about your porn addiction, Mike.
Never mind.
No, it's a drama set in the early 1800s. It's during the War of 1812, and
Oh,
my
that's
wife said
interesting.
that he's very sexy, and I said, "Look, you're not going to get any argument from me." Tom Hardy is a very sexy
Why
man.
deny the obvious, right?
Yeah,
That's cool. No, I
it's
haven't. I
very
haven't heard
good.
of it.
It's on demand, so you should look it up. FX.
On FX. Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
But there's some Star Trek alumni news there.
Yes, very cool.
And it's with Ridley Scott, so it looks beautiful. Like just the filming of it and everything. Have you ever watched Turn?
I had seen an episode.
It's the filming is like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And yes, of course, Tom Hardy was Bane, the coolest man ever.
Well, let's actually, now that you're talking about FX and pay channels, let's briefly talk about Star Trek Discovery.
Rather remote, Star Trek's on. Television news.
Star Trek Discovery announced this week. Was it this week? Yeah. That they have announced the lead role, or not the lead role, but the actor who will play Sarek. And during that announcement, which was kind of a bummer for the actor, but and a bummer for the rest of us too, but that Star Trek Discovery is been pushed back yet again and will not be released or debuting in May. As a matter of fact, they didn't give us a new target date. So
I've seen articles where they're kind of sort of blaming Walking Dead, and it kind of is a valid concern.
well,
I mean,
she is in that.
yeah, and she's a very unique character, especially in Walking Dead, because she's not in the comics. She's a completely original character created specifically for that show. So another thing about her is that she's one of the few African American characters that has not been killed off with a season after appearing.
Mm.
So she's in this position on the show where there's a lot of people that would be upset if she were all of a sudden removed from that show. So
What show? What? I missed something.
She's in Walking Dead.
Oh yeah. Sandra. She's annoying.
She does come across a bit annoying in Walking Dead.
Well, what bugs me about her is a total. Okay, this is such a geek thing. The jacket she wears, Mike, from her ex-boyfriend there who got killed, who was the army medic.
Yes.
It's not right. Don't tell me it's not right.
The patches are all wrong.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You have an 82nd Airborne patch without the Airborne tab, and it just makes me grit my teeth every single time.
And it's not like they can fix it mid-show.
Exactly.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
No, it's not hilarious.
It is hilarious because I'm with you. I'm with you.
It makes
because
my
I see it
balls crawl into my stomach.
I know. It's the same thing when I see police that will wear, something on their belt. Then you just kind of go, really? You're not going to put that there. Trust me. Because when you bend over, it's going to hurt.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Don't even get me started about shows that do that with field uniform. Did you ever notice that they always have now, the Army, the collar closed, so it's like, I'd have to find a picture, but it annoys me because no one in the history of that uniform has ever worn it like that.
It's true. I love that. That's your pet peeve, though. I do. I think that's great. It has nothing to do with her or her character. It's just the jacket she wears.
Yeah. Oh no, and it has me pounding the couch. Seriously.
Well, Mike, I think you're right. I think that a lot of it has to do with the commitments that a lot of these actors have already. But also the fact is that this is an expensive show to make.
Some say all is saying the delay is a rumor.
I've seen a lot of people report on it, so I think it's more than a rumor.
Well, she says, where did it say delayed? None of this says delayed. The delay is a rumor.
Let me find my link.
Yeah, look at the Hollywood Reporter column, because I think that's where it came from. We will definitely be looking at that. But
I would be vamping right now, except I'm chewing the Pop-Tart that was
I was
delivered
going to
to
say,
me.
I don't know, you're eating breakfast or something.
Mhm.
Well, either way, what we can do is vamp over the fact that James Frayne is the actor who has been cast as Sarek. And if you do not know who James Frayne is, then you haven't been watching a lot of television lately, because he's been in like fucking everything. He's serious. He's been in Prime Suspect, Elizabeth, Hillary and Jackie, The Tudors, Flash Forward, True Blood, Tron Legacy, Agent Carter, Orphan Black, and Gotham. And that's just in like the past 5 years.
I will say
He was
this.
good in Gotham.
In what?
I liked him in Gotham.
What did he play in that?
Theo Gallivan?
Yeah.
Azrael?
Yeah.
Oh.
thought
I
you
will say
watched-
this.
I thought you watched that.
Not yet.
Oh.
I watched.
When Gotham was on, he was like into Flash and Arrow.
Yeah. So I need to catch up on it.
I
Because
stopped
it's on
watching
at the
after
same time as Supergirl.
episode 3.
and-
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Supergirl will win every time. So I will say this. Mark Leonard will always be Sarek.
Yes.
To me. There's no one to me that can replicate the grace, the dignity, or the integrity of Sarek. However, I don't find this to be... hold on a second. I've got paperwork being delivered for my signature. Hold on.
No, you're talking about Sarek. We know that a couple of people even thought, well, Ben Cross would be kind of upset. And I thought, why? He's 70. He can't play a younger Sarek. So, I mean, as much as I loved Ben Cross's Sarek, even in the new movies, I think it's okay. I loved this casting. There's a couple people who I thought, I don't know, I thought didn't like Frayne as an actor, but I personally think he's pretty fucking amazing.
Okay, sorry.
So,
Sorry about that.
no, it's okay. But
Tax stuff.
oh, yay.
Mark Leonard will always be, but having said that,
Mm-hmm.
unlike the knee-jerk reactionaries, like everything else, I'm giving this a chance. Much like with Chris Pine as Kirk, and much like, oh wow, I just had a stroke.
He did not.
You know, with various changes. And people go, oh, why are you bringing back Sarek and shit? Oh, shut up. Just go back into your hole and play with your Lincoln Logs and just let the world move on.
It's there we go. Let's see here. We're going back. All right. Star Trek Discovery was originally scheduled to debut in January and was pushed back to May, with The Good Wife spinoff The Good Fight now set to be the first scripted offering on CBS All Access, the network's VOD platform. This marks the second delay for the series, which saw former showrunner Brian Fuller step down to focus on his Starz drama American Gods. So this is The Walking Dead. It's also worth noting that The Walking Dead is already wrapped and wouldn't return to production. Either way, Hollywood Reporter says that it will no longer debut in May.
You know,
And-
Ross brings up a good point.
Huh?
He says Sarek's reveal gives a big hint as to what historical event Discovery will be about. He says he thinks it's Babel. Well, that would Corridon, the admission of Corridon into the Federation.
Okay.
It's an interesting thought.
It is an
Because remember, it was
interesting thought.
very contentious.
And did it only happen like a decade before the original series?
I don't remember. I remember him saying, you know, the admission to Corridon is a contentious issue, and that's why the journey to Babel was so important. But because now Fuller said it was going to be touchstone from something from the original series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So far as we know.
Well, that was what Fuller said, I thought.
Yeah. And it would be important too, because that means that's what Sarek would be involved with, of course, being the ambassador or the onset. Wasn't it his baby?
Yes.
I think that would be fucking awesome. And they did say that it would remind us a lot of Star Trek 6.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
That there were themes from that would be explored as well.
Nice.
So maybe that's it. That would be fun. I'm still really looking forward to it. Of course, as a fan, I'm disappointed that it's got pushed back again, but at the same time as a fan, I just want it to be right. I want it to be
Look,
good.
if they're pushing it back to make sure that it has the highest
Pushing it
quality
back
and
costs
best
money too,
scripts
people.
and
Yeah.
everything, then I don't care.
Exactly. Mike,
How many
what's
shows
your
have we
feeling?
seen rushed, and you can tell they were rushed?
What's Mikey's feelings on it?
About Discovery being pushed back.
Yeah.
Well, the May deadline was pretty arbitrary in terms of they were thinking, okay, television, sweeps. There was at the time thinking that the first episode was going to premiere on CBS television. So for sweeps, yeah, that would be kind of important, kind of a big deal. But because the show is going to be broadcast on All Access, the whole idea of sweeps does no longer apply. So it doesn't make sense for it to be rushed to fit that date. So I think it's okay as long as the end product is quality and Trek and all of that. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I'm sad that they pushed it back again, but you know what? I think when it all comes out, I'm going to be happy. And I can't wait to see it.
This brings up something we've touched on in the past and talked about. The several times now that this has been pushed, do you think that because of new platforms like CBS All Access, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Tom's website, whatever they are that are on, and the binge watching that is now the norm, that schedules for shows that now maybe we're going to get into a thing where let's say Busy Little Beaver Productions announces the Klingons of Long Island television series will be coming soon, but with no definitive date until they're ready to do it, because they don't have to put up with the constraints of the network television now of you've got to have a hard scheduling date. You've got to, because of the advertisers and this and that, because Beyond has already made money, correct? With the Netflix deal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to, look at Marvel. Okay, they don't announce when their shows are, their next Marvel Netflix show comes out.
Right, it just says Defenders 2017.
They just give you a general idea, sometime in 2017, and then a few months earlier, basically when it's all in the can and ready to go, then they make an announcement for 3 months later.
And then they start rolling out the preview stuff.
Yeah, so
that's Disney again. That's Disney. That's the geniuses at Disney. People can hate the mouse all they want. But with the exception of John Carter, which they royally fucked.
I know.
Disney.
They admit it too, at least.
Well, that's always going to be my.
I know, but at least they admit it. They know they fucked it up.
But yeah. So, do you think that this is a new paradigm for broadcast entertainment?
Yes, I always have. I always thought that there was a paradigm shift. That was when this show first started. I said, network television will be dead in 15 years, and it's going there. It's heading in that direction.
Network television will be, because there will always be.
Nope, there will not always be.
Here's why. I think it's going to be sports and game shows that are what network television becomes.
It already is.
No,
well, because there's a lot of scripted dramas and comedies on now, Mike.
Yeah,
no, I think people will be willing to pay for a channel for sports. Yeah, and I think people would be, and game shows, there is already the Game Show Network. If it's part of a
but it
how do I
is
say it? If it's part of something like Twitch, where you can just Twitch is it, right? It's amazing. People would know, but if you could just watch a channel on Twitch and then you sub to a particular channel.
Terry, you know I don't like to take on people in our chat room.
But
Snowman Frost, who loves to pick fights, said a few years back they said radio is dead. Radio is dead. If you were not alive in the 60s or 70s or 80s, you don't know how who put Deja Thoris up?
Matthew Anderson.
Thanks for ruining
it was so funny.
Totally hit that Achilles heel.
Snowman Frost, you are correct. I shouldn't have said they're going to die. No, they're going to transform into a pay
I will accept that. That's
exactly
better.
Right. They're going to transform into a pay channel, just like we get now.
No,
you're going to be able to
Matthew
pick
Anderson
what you
saying
want.
Radio isn't dead, it went to satellite. No, radio that we grew up with is dead.
It's
radio
all pre-programmed
was the only way to hear new music, aside from your friend having an album.
I haven't listened, I swear to you, I haven't turned the car radio on in probably 5 or 6 years.
Exactly, yeah. And when we're driving and we're flipping through the stations, I'm hearing the same song on every station. No, and I mean literally the same song. It's this Maroon 5 song. It's always on. Now, radio used to do, but not near like they're doing it now. And let's face it, radio is not the platform used to break new acts now. It is iTunes or online ways are breaking new acts.
And we are making a distinction here.
We showed how important it is was on 9/11.
Yeah, to a degree.
Radio is important now during some kind of catastrophic emergency. Right.
And I even have one of those radios that has a crank, so you can power it up.
Yeah, so you burn it without batteries.
And Snowman Frost, we are making a distinction. We're talking about radio, not internet radio, because internet radio is a different access platform. So there you have it. Same with television. Television, you're going to have a different access platform, and it's going to be the internet, and it's going to be your choice. It's going to be, as much as you would hate the idea of it, is like, I have to pay for this, I have to pay for that. Well, you know what? It's actually more consumer friendly in my point of view, because you get to pick what you want to watch. I can pick what I want to watch at any given time. That's why I like, with Netflix, you can stream and watch what you want. With CBS All Access, you can watch any CBS show. And, again, cable, if there's anything that's going to have to be revamped, it's cable, because cable companies are losing subscribers. And HBO, right? Oh, they have to watch out.
Some companies are starting to go the a la carte route.
Yep. But the one thing about a CBS All Access, and getting back to Discovery, is we already know by admission from the company's president, CEO, that Star Trek Discovery is already, what did he say, 60, 70% paid for?
Yeah, I think it was 70 was the number I heard.
So
Kush is here.
I know.
Well, hello, Father Kush.
So with that influx of money ahead of production, they are not getting caught in the same traps as Star Trek, any other previous version of Star Trek had. And that was, you had to have the capital up front, and you had to pull it from the network and from the corporation, from the producers. You had to put that money up front and risk it in the hopes that the show would be a hit, and you could up the cost for ad revenue just to make your money back on the show. That's how it worked. Now people are paying ahead of time through subscription. They're funding the production of the show before it ever goes live. So there's less risk involved, meaning they can actually use that money to create creative, high gloss, high quality scripted shows that they couldn't do in the network, which is why we ended up with all that reality television, because the return on profit or the return on investment was so high. Now they're the investment isn't being risked. The investment is the subscribers' money. It's not the producer's money. So this is a big, big change in how television is being made, and why I'm not Grammys, but Emmys are going out to scripted television, not from network. It's all going to like Showtime because these are subscription based channels. It's a huge way of how things have changed. And I think we're going to see something really special from Star Trek Discovery. And
Terry.
I'm excited. Yes, sir.
DEF CON is here.
DEF CON, we
I
missed
know.
you, sweetheart.
It's good to see you, DEF CON. It's been
Oh,
a long time.
hi, hun.
We need to talk DEF CON after the show sometime. So
yes, we do.
Look for a message from me.
Okay.
Yes, sweet.
Yeah, and what's happening too is like Discovery. What I'm interested in seeing is, and we've talked about whether the language will be or the the gritty, what style is it going to be?
Yeah,
Is it going to be the standard 3 camera, or is it going to be the mixing of the handheld with what's it going to be? But what the new platforms allow is far deeper writing than you can get on a network show. Now, that's not to impugn. I mean, there's been some great network shows lately. I mean, I for the first couple of seasons, I was hooked on The Good Wife. That was a great show.
Yeah.
There's definitely some really good shows, but if you look at something like Mike, I think you would agree that Daredevil or Jessica Jones or Man in the High Tower, it allows for the stories to unwind at a far different pace than they do on network television.
Well, like in the original plan for Discovery, they were talking about the show is going to essentially be, quote unquote, a novel, with each episode basically being a chapter in this book, in this story, and that's what streaming or the current round of television, especially on the streaming side, has allowed. You couldn't really do that or as easily on network television. Network television, it works best, I kind of want to say, in an episodic, not really a reset, but where you have certain threads that run through, but the story, can jump back and forth a little bit. It's got a lot more flexibility, but you're also, you also get the filler episodes that don't really do much except like for like 30 seconds when they do one little thing, and it's like, but you have to sit through 45 minutes or whatever of all this other stuff before you get to the story that actually continues on. And whereas with streaming, you're getting the story. Sure, there might be things that happen along the way that aren't really connected, but the focus is still the story rather than monster of the week or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be, I just think they have such freedom now. And what I love about the fact that they've pushed it back, which sources have said that they have, means that they're going to be able to take their time with it, that they're not rushed, that they're not, that they're not bleeding the network's money, that they're actually looking at it as an investment to make a quality show that will survive. Because here's the thing again, they have to make it so it's good enough for people to want to pay for it. And that's also a different idea.
Not just pay for it, but to keep paying for it.
Exactly. So it has to be good. It has to be enough to draw people in going, I'll plunk down $7 a month for that.
Because you
and
can
get a
go
bunch
to
of other stuff.
You can go to like iTunes and just buy a season or an episode of a show. You can do that on Amazon. Okay.
Right.
But to actually convince people to subscribe to a service beyond one episode, beyond one series, beyond, you gotta have something.
Well, and here's the other thing that that the new platform allows. when we were growing up, boy, Terry, how old am I feeling saying that? When we were growing up, if let's say Emergency, great example. What night was Emergency on, Terry? It was on Saturdays?
I thought it was on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I was able to watch it without having a problem, you know.
If you missed Emergency, you missed Emergency.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now-
And then when they started doing reruns.
Maybe they
It was
didn't
like-
choose an episode that you later would see that was your favorite.
Yeah, it's pick and choose. It's out
Yeah.
of order. I mean, reruns could be a mess.
Yeah, and the other thing, Mike, I'm glad you brought it up, that how they said they were doing it, is the telenovel format is what it has become. I mean, you cannot watch Daredevil out of order. You cannot. You cannot watch Jessica Jones out of order, or Man in the High Tower.
Very true.
Right.
You know, it's a great.
I tried watching something out of order, and long story. I watched the show. I forget what it's called, Out of Order, and I was like confused for like the first 6 episodes, but the last 7, it was like, or well, it's the last 5, and then the first 2, because like I said, it was out of order. I was hooked. You know, once I figured out what was actually going on, I was
what
like,
series
wow,
was this, Mike?
I don't remember. Sneaky Pete.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I actually liked that show, but man, I had no idea what was going on for the longest time because I had skipped the first 2, not realizing I had done that.
Here's another thought that I just had, Terry.
Yep.
Season 1 of Heroes was one of the best seasons of television. Season 2 totally was derailed by the writer's strike.
Yeah.
If you're doing it on a platform like this now, that's
You don't
not
have to
so
worry
much
about
a
it.
concern.
That's right.
They can look. It's 2 years between seasons for Game of Thrones because it films around the world and all of this stuff. But you're gonna see, I think now, if God forbid there's another writer's strike, where it may not have that impact.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the case of Heroes, and it's happened for other shows as well, the writer's strike really derailed the creative juju. You know, it really...
It took all the steam out of it.
Yeah, it took the momentum. People lost interest. The audience, they went elsewhere. You know, there were a lot of different things that happened because they weren't able to deliver their content in a timely fashion.
Alan had the same problem with Flash Forward, with V, with all of that. It was the NBC's biggest problem, right? Was the winter break? Was this? Oh, we'll put it on hiatus for like 8 weeks or 12 weeks. It's like no. No. Don't do a hiatus mid-season. What you need to do is and that's where they came up with the 13-week season.
Right.
It's a lot easier to break that up and say, okay, we'll do a cliffhanger here, and then we'll be able to film the other 13 episodes over time.
Not necessarily, Terry. That yes.
On network, I meant.
Yes, but look at Walking Dead. They have
again. I don't consider Walking Dead. Right.
Yeah, exactly. They're not a standard network show. Right.
And that's where I meant with when it comes to pay channels or sub channels, and subscriber channels are those channels in your cable or digital that you pay for with your package, like HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, USA, all of those. Those are sub.
By the way, USA has become quite the cable hit making factory. Remember when it used to just be like reruns?
Yeah.
Burn Notice.
Yeah, Burn Notice.
Burn Notice helped turn them.
Oh, Burn Notice was awesome.
Psych, which I've never seen.
Oh my god, you haven't seen Psych? Oh my god. Sorry, Mike. Here's your pineapple. Put the pineapple over on the side.
Everybody tells me that if I'm loving Scrubs, I would love Psych.
Yes.
Still haven't watched Scrubs, but yeah, Psych is awesome.
It's great.
But Scrubs is a great example for me. It's been off the air a couple of years now. I found it on Netflix. In a month, I'm already up to season 6.
Yeah.
And that's only watching a couple episodes a night.
There is only one V.
That's true.
Yeah, I couldn't get through Nip Tuck because, again, I thought they were both fucking assholes, but I don't watch TV shows about assholes.
But you can do a long season. I mean, Walking Dead does, and the way they do it, they have their mid-season break, but you know that they're going to be back in October.
But it's only 20 episodes. That's
It's only
still
20
shorter
episodes,
than what we
and-
grew up with.
Well, all television is shorter than what it was.
By what, 4 or 5 episodes? It's usually
6, I think.
24. Yeah,
Well, it was TOS was 26 episodes.
26 episodes.
You know, so it's been dwindling, pretty much ever since. But
yeah.
With shows like Walking Dead on cable and others, I mean, they're able to do 2 seasons a year. Well, 2 half seasons a year.
Yeah, I hate the fact that Survivor says it's in its 76th season. No, you've been on for 12 years.
But they have 3 seasons a year,
Yeah.
or they have 3 shows a year or whatever it is. The same thing with Hell's Kitchen, which I absolutely love. But anyways, but each half season is almost a complete story, or
It is, yeah.
They'll have their cliffhanger or not. It's just, but basically you get a story for that half season. You get another story. Sometimes it's a continuation of what happens before, or an evolution of what happened before. But it tells its own little story each time it's on, for each run. That sort of thing. I mean, it kind of works. But if you can conclude a full, like Man in the High Tower. Each 13 episode run, they tell a complete story. They set up potential, the next season. I mean, you have to if you want to hold on to your audience.
Like that ending to the first season, that last scene of the first season of Man in the High Tower, I literally said out loud, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yes. I was like, what? Yeah. I mean, I agree.
It was brilliant. That was a brilliant wrap up.
Well, I don't know. And at the end of it all, do you think that, I think we all agree that Discovery has more potential to be a great show if they take their time with it.
Of course.
Yeah, I do. I'm excited.
It's not like movies where the more money you throw at it, the worse it gets.
No, it all comes down to the writing. It all comes down to the writing.
It really does.
Yeah.
And we know at least a couple of the writers, so we're happy. She's gonna do great. I am not
my
worried.
first interview for the podcast solo was with her.
I know, that's right. Also, did you see that David Mack
Yes.
stated that he's almost done with the first tie-in novel for Star Trek
Yes.
Discovery? So, yay! We'll probably see that.
Speaking of him, we need to talk after the show about David.
Okay.
But, yeah,
Was he
go
gonna
ahead.
get money?
No.
Actually, no, son. Again, I really wouldn't watch a show about assholes being scrotum squashed by women. No, that does not appeal to me.
There are times when a show full of assholes is great, though.
Coffee?
Case in point, Married with Children.
See, and I couldn't even watch that show because
Are you serious?
oh, I can't because it was a house full of stupid assholes.
Right. That's the joy.
No, because
It was the anti-Cosby show.
yeah, and again, full of stupid. I
No,
don't
not
tolerate
full of stupid. Full of real.
I really don't tolerate stupid.
It was full of real.
That's the problem, right? So
Wait a minute.
yeah,
If you don't like stupid characters, how did you like Lucy?
I really very rarely watched.
Careful now.
I really how do, there's a difference between stupid and ditzy.
Okay.
She was intelligent and right. She was brilliant in her schemes.
It was
you
the
can't
execution.
be stupid. You cannot be stupid and come up with plans like that. But she was a ditz about him, and she always fucked him up. She was kind of that clown in a sweet way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because she lacked intelligence.
Lucy!
Yeah, it wasn't because she lacked intelligence. And she was never cruel. And that's the
No.
other thing, is that some of
Well-
the plans and some of the things that came out of Married with Children, they were just mean people. It's the same reason I didn't watch Seinfeld.
They weren't.
They were smart and mean.
They were not mean.
Oh my God, they were
real
so
New
mean.
Yorkers. They
They were
real New
nasty
Yorkers.
people. And
They
they
were
got
not
what they
nasty.
they got what they deserved in the final. My favorite episode of Seinfeld was the last one.
Well, that's because you're nuts. They were not mean.
Oh, they were nasty people. I would
How?
never be friends with any of them.
You're friends with me, and I am George Costanza.
I tolerate you. And you're not George Costanza.
Yeah, I am.
No, you're really not. You're far
I'm
nicer
short.
than
I'm
that.
bald. I'm stocky.
Yeah, that physically not what we're talking about. You would never do to people what George does to other people.
Really?
Yeah, really. No, you wouldn't. And see, the thing is you can't deny it because you know that there's like,
No,
yeah,
because I
probably
have
wouldn't do
done
that.
those things to people.
Nope, you wouldn't.
If you think if you think that if I thought I could get away with it, I wouldn't fake needing a scooter and having a disability, you're out of your mind.
I really don't want to push that now.
For a good bathroom, please.
You don't want to see my face right now.
Oh, seriously, thank you. I appreciate
There is
that.
nothing in work better than a private bathroom. Yeah,
Okay.
I said it.
All right, there you have it.
I said it.
Oh, well, so Discovery aside, I think we really do need to touch on what happened this week with Axonar.
Uh-oh, you're in trouble. Semantic shenanigans.
That's
You
how
mean
I'm going
Rat
to say it
Bomb
from now on.
McCabe because his financials were going to be exposed to the world for the lying scumbag, scumball in a sea of pus that he is?
All right. For those who may not yet be aware, Axonar is over. It is over. The actual lawsuit is over. They settled this week, but it sounds to me, as most settlements are, that the settlement negotiations had taken quite some time. That's the spin. There is a spin, as we all expected, that both. I'm going to say this up front, and I've said it again, or I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. As with any settlement, whether it's done through mediation, private mediation, or if you just pick up the phone and drag it out, the sign of a good settlement is that both sides walk away angry because they both feel like they gave up too much. That means that you feel like you have given up enough to avoid the risks of a downside jury verdict. And it's important to know that if you weren't angry, then you were never passionate about your case. And if somebody is happy about this settlement, then they're either lying or they're lucky. I hope people understand what I meant by that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there's a lot of us who have supported and do support CBS's side on this because we support the creative process and we support...
No, it's because we're haters.
No, we support the idea that people who own their work get to keep their work, whether they be writers, artists, code writers, that their creative property and their intellectual property remains their own, and nobody else can build a studio using that person's property to do so. Now, settlements usually do occur on the court, what we call on the courthouse steps. And yes, that means within the few days, maybe even a week or two before trial, usually after motions for summary judgment are ruled upon and motions in limine are ruled upon, meaning once the judge clears up and separates the chaff and says this shit doesn't get in front of the jury because it doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, it doesn't matter in a big way. The only things that the jury get are things that they can actually, that actually have facts that are in question. And this particular case, the judge said that the only thing that the jury needs to decide is whether or not Axanar was substantially similar to Star Trek in order to prove that copyright infringement had occurred. He also ruled in the motions in limine that the financials that were already at issue that we hadn't had privy of seeing the actuals had been redacted because they had been protected before. The judge said, no, those no longer get to be protected by redaction. This is a public interest case, and you now have to file those financials without the black marks all over it. Not surprising. Nobody wants their personal financials, and in this case, it's more than likely that it was also a factor that helped them decide to settle the case. But it was going to be a very hard case for them to win. Fair use was not allowed to be tried upon because they didn't have, the judge said, this isn't a fair use case. He was very clear, said this isn't a fair use case. He applied the 4-point standard that we had been discussing since this case was filed. And he said those standards apply and you broke every rule, and that fair use does not apply. You didn't do this. It wasn't for education. It wasn't for this. And it was a commercial. And the argument was it was also a commercial project because he made money off of it in a commercial way. He created a commercial entity from it and used Star Trek for that commercial purpose. So he said fair use, and I think that the argument was correct. The fair use didn't apply. So now it all got to go to the jury. The attorney for Mr. Peters did what she had to do, and that was they had no, for people who were like, why didn't they appeal the fair use? The thing with appeals, everyone, that you forget, and if you listen to our past shows, the thing with appeals that's very important for people to understand, you don't get to just file an appeal and hope that they change their mind. You have to prove to the higher court that the lower court, as a matter of law, erred in its ruling on whatever you were beefing about. In this case, the appellate court would have had to have proven, or actually Ranahan and her team would have had to prove to the Ninth Circuit that Judge Klausner's ruling on fair use was wrong. And they would have had to say, using and the matter of law that they had was the current case law that creates fair use now. They can't change it. And they would have to go to the Ninth Circuit and say, we think Judge Klausner erred in his judgment or his ruling on fair use. And here's why. Well, the problem is that there's no case law for them to say, here's why. Because all the case law that has been created fair use to begin with. So they wouldn't have been able to have been successful in that appeal. And let me tell you, appeals are very expensive. And if Mr. Peters doesn't have the money, because let's face it, the only thing that Winston and Strawn was giving him for free was attorney time. He had to pay for experts. He has to pay for filing fees. He has to pay for all of the associated fees that his attorneys undertake, including travel. And the Ninth Circuit isn't in Los Angeles. They're in San Francisco. So he would have had to pay for his attorneys to fly up there. He would have had to pay for all of their incidental, including their meals and all of that stuff. It's that clear. He couldn't afford an appeal. Winston and Strawn wasn't going to do it for him for free because the chances of him winning were pretty weak. Also, she has a duty, and I know I said duty, she has a duty to protect her client from downside jury verdicts and also exposure to other things. So please listen carefully. The judge said that the personal and the financials had to be filed unredacted. It is not unlikely that part of the settlement occurred because he didn't want those financials to be out there. And Ranahan had a duty to keep those financials from being discovered. Take that for what you will. Listen carefully to what that may mean if you are a donor. And once again, follow up if you donated through Kickstarter or through GoFundMe. Watch what's going on that side of things. The CBS versus Axanar case is over. None of that information. I'm sorry, Mike?
I do have a question, but go ahead.
Please. I said none of the information that came out during that case or is filed in that case, if it was filed under seal, will ever come out now. It has to be accessed by different means. So if it was filed under seal, when a settlement occurs, that case kind of now freezes at that point and it goes away. So if it was filed under seal, they'll stay sealed. So Mike, what question you had?
Okay. Alec had sent a update to donors, and in it he basically implies that there are certain steps that he has to take in order to be able to continue. So if there are certain stipulations in the settlement,
Mm-hmm.
and if he fails to adhere to that, what happens next? I mean, I'm just curious. I'm not saying, you know.
Well, we'll never really see the settlement agreement, so we don't really know for a fact what has been agreed to, what hasn't. I think the three of us have received some pretty good information and some that we do know that he is allowed to make Axanar as 2 15-minute continuing episodes that have to adhere to the guidelines, which
yes.
means that if he crowdfunded...
You mean the guidelines he pushed for?
And then ranted against?
And here's the question I have. He's already received $1.5 million. Does that
minimum,
mean,
because we don't know what came out of the donor store,
which is now closed, correct?
It's being revamped. Don't know its future.
Yeah,
it's currently being revamped.
I am sure it's going to be revamped in a big way because there's going to be some things that he's no longer allowed to sell. But the thing that what I have a question on is, does he get to go out and ask for another $100,000?
He can.
Or
he can't
does
crowdfund, but he can ask for donations. And I think, if I remember, there's a $50,000 cap.
There's a $50,000 cap. Well, go ahead, Mike.
It's private donations. It could be he can get another $2-3 million
if somebody came by and gave him that money. Yeah,
private donations. But for public donations, like through Kickstarter, Indiegogo, whatever, that has the cap, $50,000 per episode. So he can get another $100K if he goes the Kickstarter route. But if he wants more, it has to be done privately, and so who knows?
I think it's funny that Snowman's actually trying to twist this, that CBS was afraid of his financials. I really do. I think that's very cute.
Kool-Aid is very soothing.
I know, that's very cute, because trust me when I say, my question is why did Peters agree to a settlement then? He could have, if do you think that CBS was so afraid of his financials, why did Peters agree to the settlement? If there's anybody you should be angry with, it's him, because he's
why did Peters fight so hard to keep them sealed?
Right. No, he's just keeping a conversation. Yeah, okay, right. So yeah, it's frustrating for, I know, the donors. But to answer your question, Mike, usually...
let's not forget that, well, never mind.
Okay.
I was going to say, the IRS has been notified too.
Well, there's there isn't, I'm not disagreeing that there aren't a lot of other issues outside of this lawsuit that he has to face. But that's not what I'm discussing.
Of his own doing, because of the way he treated people that donated to him. This is why you don't be... Will Wheaton's first law, don't be a dick.
But to get back to Mike, settlement agreements are contractual obligations. They are, okay, I'll rush Mike. Settlement agreements are, for all intent and purposes, contracts in front of the court. You're going in front of the court, and each side swears to the judge, this is what we're going to adhere to, this is how we're going to do it. Settlement agreements normally, especially in big cases like this, where you're dealing with a corporate entity that's involved, contain a confidentiality agreement. And let me tell you, those confidentiality agreements are the most stringent confidentiality agreements that you can adhere to, or that you can have. I use them all the time in my cases. Why? Because I don't want the other side, the plaintiffs in the cases that I work with, to go around saying, look at how much money I got from so and so, or look at what they did for me, or this settlement means this. No, those settlements usually don't mean that. What they do mean is that they tried. By the way, everybody, I tend to work on defense, which means that if Alec Peters had insurance for the defense for this, it would be somebody like me that would be directing that defense.
I just don't think he'll be able to help himself from talking about it.
If Alec Peters were my client, I would have told him before this lawsuit was filed to stop, because we would have withheld coverage for him because of the issues that we're having. But be that as it may, if we were directing him all the way through, you better believe we were going to settle this case. And not only that, we were going to be getting a confidentiality agreement, so the plaintiffs wouldn't be going around going, oh, we settled for this and la 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 la, and look at what we got, look at what we got. A breach of that confidentiality agreement nullifies the agreement. All right. So a breach of any aspect of that agreement nullifies or can nullify the agreement. And then it starts all over again, except they usually get to use the rulings that occurred to that point in time. And so
in other words, if for any part of
and you
the
get
settlement,
fined up the oh my god, you get fined up the ass. I'm sorry, what?
So any part of the settlement, if he doesn't adhere to it, or if either party does not adhere to it, it's like almost as if the trial continues from that point forward.
Kind of. I mean, technically it would probably start all over again as a breach of contract case, and then all of the existing trial information, or all of the existing case information, all of the discovery, all of the interrogatories, all of the depositions, they get packaged into one lump sum, into one big bucket, and dumped on a new judge's bench.
Okay.
And it would be a new judge. Most likely it would be a new judge. And yeah, pretty much what Matthew Anderson, exactly. Pretty much what Matthew Anderson put in there is like, it'd be somebody beating you upside the head. It would just be a bad thing, because then on top of the damages that you could have faced in the lower court case or in the original case is just the baseline for the damages that you could get in the breach of contract case, which are not just the damages that were outlined or at risk in the original contract, but also punitive damages.
And I take it there are people who are kind of monitoring whether or not certain things are being done, so that the contract is being followed.
I'm sure that both sides are going to make sure that they both adhere to it. Yeah. I mean, if there's certain, we don't know what the confidentiality agreements may be.
Of course.
We don't know to what provisions of the contract they apply, if there are any, because you can have specific confidentiality agreements saying you're not allowed to talk about this. You're not allowed to talk about this. You're not allowed to talk about this. But there might be, of course, you have to be able to talk about this because it's part of what you're doing to say, make the 2 15-minute. So they've already outlined, and please, somebody in the chat room, I know that the way I had read it was that they are going to be allowed to use some of the Star Trek actors they already had.
From what I had seen, the ones that they currently have are the ones that they can continue to use.
Okay.
But it looks like their compensation is they have to do it out of the goodwill.
They have to do it for free.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
From what I can tell, I mean, if I read it correctly, that's how it comes across to me.
Okay. That wouldn't necessarily be surprising. And it's part of the reason.
And I don't think they can add any new people that have worked on.
So it has to maintain. So future work still has to adhere to the guidelines.
Yeah. So if they can't, get Tim Russ to show up as a young Tuvok or whatever.
Right.
or younger Tuvok, or I don't know. Does he age? I don't
know. Really, right?
Snowman Frost. Tim Rock drinks the blood of babies to stay looking as good as he does.
I swear. I mean, sure, his hair is starting to gray, but I don't think he ages. I mean, we love you,
He's
Tim
got
Russ.
those eyes, man. Whew.
And his voice. Tim Rock, I always thought would be such a great voiceover artist.
He may. I just don't know. I don't know if he does voiceover work. I hope he does. Snowman Frost says, which is quite strange. I mean, these actors. What do you mean by that, Mr. Frost? It's something. Yeah. They made it. It sounds to me like CBS made a very, very special. What's the
Exception?
word? Exception. Thank you, Michael. That they made a very special exception for this so they could finish out the 2 15-minute episodes. That doesn't mean that these actors are going to be willing to work for free. It's possible. It's probable. If they want to finish the roles. We don't know what that'll end up being. Who knows? My thought is though is that he gets to it just sits so wrong with me is that he gets to crowdfund another $100,000. But you know what? He's got fans that are willing to give it. He does.
There is something with that too.
What?
If you've seen what's going on the Kickstarter page, there's a whole lot of people asking for their money back because what was donated for now cannot be made. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, I am too. Let's put it that the settlement doesn't mean that everything's tied up in a neat, tidy bow. It doesn't. There's a lot still going on outside of the lawsuit. But as far as CBS's causes of action are concerned, those are done. Outside of that, if there were any other exposures that Alec Peters and Axanar had with regards to any other possible plaintiffs coming after him, we don't know. It hasn't happened yet. Statute of limitations is coming up. You might want to think about that. And also, he's got other things. He's got other problems, especially amongst them. A reputation of gathering over $1.5 million and producing dick and creating a studio off of somebody else's IP. That's a point of reputation that I don't think he'll ever be able to shake, and he shouldn't.
He did get some nice new blue shirts out of it, though,
and some tires and car insurance and his SAG
gas
fees,
station incidentals,
and his
AAA rat vomit. We're talking to you.
Ross did jump in the chat room and told us that Tim Russ and Patrick Stewart do voiceover on Fallout 4.
Thank you, Room Dog.
Thank you. So yeah, it's over with. It is. Please again listen to and follow up over at Semantic Shenanigans. Janet will be doing an in-depth follow up on that, and
it'll be like butter.
It'd be like butter. So we are very happy, though. I am very happy. I am not surprised that the case settled at all. Both Janet and I have said, 95+% of all cases settle, and it's not a surprise to me. So there you have it. Nick.
See.
Do you have any other topics you want to talk about, baby?
She babied me. Oh, I wrote one down here.
Okay.
Let me go through my notes. Hold on. Vamp.
Okay, Patrick Stewart did voiceover in Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. He was the Emperor. He's also doing a voice in Emojis, the movie.
What's new in the Star Trek universe? General news.
And he's taking shit for that.
Why?
Did you hear that? Because there's people who are like, how could he do something that's so beneath him? Do you believe that? Beneath him.
It's not porn.
It's just like, as if the man isn't allowed to have fun on a job. I'm sorry.
He does those goofy ass, silly alcohol commercials.
Oh my God, the Strongbow.
Yeah. and Emojis is beneath him?
I know. I was laughing so hard. I was like, are you kidding me? People do not understand what an actor means. And the one thing about Patrick Stewart we have to give him credit for is that apparently he was kind of like that when he started Star Trek The Next Generation. But after the end of the first season, because of all the shit he started to take from Frakes and the rest of the guys,
Oh yeah.
telling him
Oh
to
yeah. He
lighten
was
the fuck up.
when in the first season he was a thespian, and then they
Right.
started mocking him,
And they got him off his high horse. And now he's like one of the most amazing, diverse, just amazing
which is
actors
part of the reason
ever.
that cast is so close, is because they were able to gel like that and make fun of each other and make fun of themselves.
Oh my God, Kojiro Vance is saying he's actually playing the poop emoji. That's hilarious.
Okay, that's just
That's hilarious.
now I'm laughing. Did you ever think we'd live to see the day that our culture was selling poop?
Poop pillows?
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that I understood that the history of the emoji for that specific emoji wasn't that it was poop, but chocolate ice cream.
Really?
It was
Yeah, I had heard
designed. It was designed to be chocolate ice cream. It's just that people saw it.
It's
and
gone
said
horribly
poop.
awry.
Yes.
Oh, I know what we're talking about now.
Oh, we were talking about Patrick Stewart kind of getting grief for doing the voice of the poop emoji. In the movie.
Grief, really?
I know, seriously, right? That's what
I
you were
mean,
saying.
Look, if there's
this
two
is a
people in
role
this
he
world,
can have fun with, and I'm sure he's going to have some fun with it.
if there's two people in this world that absolutely have the greatest fun with who they are and mocking themselves, it's Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen.
Did you? I love him. I love them both. I saw the and speaking of Patrick Stewart, I saw the second trailer for Logan this week. Holy crap!
Oh, really? I haven't seen it
Oh
yet. I
my
need to look
God! It might be one I'll have to rent. It might be one I'll have to rent.
it up. Look at
We'll
you.
see. I know.
Look at you.
It might be one I have to rent. It's just I can see already. It's rated R. So holy crap.
So I was thinking about this week.
Okay.
One of the things that I find is very interesting is as technology progresses. Like years ago, I was very upset when Turner colorized movies. I think that's kind of a
Going against the grain of the artist's intention. Okay.
Yeah. And like there's certain movies that were made specifically in black and white to save money, or because they felt that it would add something to the texture of the film. And I was thinking about the Blu-raying of Trek, especially the original series, and then Next Generation, and the cleaning up, and not the cleaning up, that doesn't bother me, but the
changing the special effects.
Yes. And I don't know, what do you think of that? Do you think it detracts from, are we going to get to a point it's hard to find the original episode 4 of Star Wars now, because it has been remastered so many times.
We actually have a DVD of the original theatrical release of Star Wars, of the first Star Wars, of the New Hope, quote unquote New Hope. It has none of the special effects.
Right.
And we played it for Alan Kojiro will even verify this. When Adam Walker stayed with us for about a week when he was traveling, and Adam Walker is one of the co-owners of TrekCore. Adam stayed with us for about a week, and when he was traveling through, and he had admitted to us he had never seen Star Wars. So we played it for him, the original theatrical release. And he goes, that is the most boring movie ever. How did this become so successful?
Right, but what I'm talking about is the updating of the special effects.
Right.
Look, I'm not going to say remaster TOS is not beautiful. It is. It is
beautiful.
Unbelievable.
I like having access to both.
Right. Is something lost in the using technology to continually update the visuals of something, where I think of like Fantastic Voyage, or Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, or Forbidden Planet, one of the greatest science fiction movies ever. I don't want to see
I guess.
remastering because it shows you the time as well that it was made.
I can understand that,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you want to keep it relatable and interesting for new viewers to kind of to be attracted to new viewers.
Isn't
as
that
well.
where story comes in?
Yeah, and I think
but
maybe go ahead, Mike.
but like Terry said, she, when her friend had watched it, the original cut of Star Wars, he said that how boring it was. I mean, audiences change. Yes, there is still a place for the original, but I think in order to keep some things relevant, you do have to update them. Now, whether or not that means a reboot or a remake or going back to the original content and updating it, there's different interpretations on what can be done or what can be termed acceptable. But if you want to broaden your audience, especially for a younger modern, you have to have those considerations in what you choose to do.
How do I say this? When it comes to, maybe it's different in science fiction. Maybe it's different with science fiction. I mean, I would never.
Oh, I think
ever.
so. I think the genre is
I think it lends itself to an updates or cleanups, as we would say, better than any other genre. I personally prefer the updated TOS special effects. I really do. To me, they're seamless. When I watch it, I don't notice that they are anything but beautiful.
But isn't the joy of the original airing in seeing what they were doing in 1966?
I like comparing them.
Some people aren't really into historical television.
But I have them both. I really like owning both, which is why it was so important to me when they did release the Blu-rays that they came with both versions. So if I
Yes.
really wanted to, I could go back and watch the original. The fact of the matter is the updates don't really change the story to me. It improved it. It's an art form that not very many people could do well. They lucked out with the Okudas and everybody else doing what they did.
True.
Yes.
You have to have, if you're going to do it, you have to have.
It didn't detract.
Look, if they were going to do it with Space 1999, they would need somebody with the passion that the Okudas brought to track.
Yes.
It has to be a passion project, not done by just a hired gun to do it, because the Okudas understood and understand the whole process and mindset. Whereas if they were going to update Space 1999, which is kind of a contemporary of Star Trek, I mean, it's a little later, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that you would find somebody that has that kind of. Maybe you would. That's unfair for me to say. Or you know what? It would be like if I had the rights to the $6 Million Man, I would bring in Dayton.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And another good point is, just because you're the person who created it doesn't mean that you're going to be all that brilliant with the remastering. And George Lucas is a good example of that.
And I'm going to defend him a little here because Lucas takes a lot of shit.
Lucas,
a lot of things that he added in, say, Episode 4 and all of that is stuff that he wanted to do but didn't have the technology to do in the originals.
Right. I think he probably should have waited even longer.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because the technology still wasn't good enough.
And it's still evolving. I mean,
and it's
really
still evolving,
for him,
but
it could go on forever.
So here's the other thing: is one of the things that bothered me the most was a contextual change,
right?
In the Star Wars films, where he replaced the older actor of Darth Vader, with the younger.
Are you talking about the end of Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
With Christian Haydenson. Yeah, I had a problem with that.
That pissed me off.
I understood why he did it. I really did. And
But he
part of me
wasn't.
said, okay, that makes sense. But another part of me said, no, it should have been the guy who was the last, who was the adult Vader.
Right. I don't
It
remember.
wasn't young Vader because it
Right.
wasn't young
He
Alec
didn't
Guinness.
die when he was young.
Yeah, it was not young Alec
Everybody
Guinness.
else, right? Everybody else looked like how they looked when they died.
Yeah.
Except him. It's like, why does he get to be the younger? Why does he get to de-age in death?
Right, and I agree with that totally. But like,
It could be argued that it was because that was the last time he was actually on good
Anakin?
terms with the Force.
Oh,
The last
you know
time,
what, Mike?
Oh,
the last
That's a
time
really good
he
call,
was
Mike.
actually Anakin, you know, and that's kind of where his
but he
life
didn't. He turned
stopped.
good before he died.
That is also true, but he also had
Yeah, good
it was
argument.
more of an atonement for all the bad that he had done.
All right, I'll retcon the fuck out of that, and that's what I'll use from now on. But
And Edith Keeler is a temporal agent.
All right, it's throwdown time.
But I wanted to
Mike?
I wanted to respond to something Terry had said earlier.
Okay, and then bring it back to Edith Keeler because I have
Okay.
a rebuttal for you.
Okay, but Terry was saying that for her, she likes having both versions and being able to compare. But again, she's not the audience that some of these remakes are being aimed for. So
Aren't
that's
the
all.
remakes being
that is
aimed
true.
for? But couldn't you argue that the remakes are aimed at Trek fans because they know people will drop the money on it?
sure,
Yes and no, but I think their main goal is to make it more accessible for the younger people.
I don't know because it wasn't aired. It's only being sold. If you want to make it more accessible,
I don't know.
it would need to be.
I think-
It's now streaming. It's now available on streaming. It
Yeah.
just
True.
wasn't immediately, but it takes time. They have to make their money back first. They do that through sales. But again, I'm just saying.
sorry that GIF just is what it is.
Sunsail.
Sorry, Mikey. Go ahead.
But my point is, their goal wasn't to appease current Trek fans. Their goal for these updates is to appeal to a younger audience
I think so too.
and to bring them into the fold.
I don't know. I think their goal was to remaster it, make it look more using
the
today's
thing.
technology, and put it out there. I don't think there was a specific goal to draw on younger audience.
I do.
I think
But
I think
we can agree
there
to
was.
disagree.
The other thing too is that let's face it, the changes that they made in the Blu-ray for TOS, even TNG, were not actual visual changes. They didn't take the visuals of the screen and change them. They just cleaned them up. They updated them. They're still kind of cheesy, right?
Yeah, it's still
a blob.
inspired.
It's still a blob.
It's still
they didn't-
inspired by what was there,
Right.
but they've instead of being a
Well,
film
they did
effect.
add some scenes though, like on Amok Time when they showed the city based on the
Oh,
way
the
it
new
was
map
in
paintings.
yesteryear.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
the
well,
updated map paintings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean they took
Beautiful.
what was there
Yeah,
and
it
they
was.
updated. They created, so instead of taking a film effect that was made by putting a cigarette to the film,
Right.
essentially, they created a computer graphic of something that looks similar but a lot cleaner, a lot sharper, a lot more modern. But it's still
and again,
inspired by
but
what was
it's still
originally
inspired by, and not so. I don't know. I really loved the update. It's also a unique production. What they
Yes.
were able to do with the Blu-rays and what they update for the original series isn't something that they would have been able to do with any other television show or even movie. Star Wars had films that they had to deal with. It wasn't necessarily a television show. So TOS had that going for it. On top of which they still had their story. They never really changed the interior of that ship because that would have been
Right.
no. There was a reverence to that I don't think anybody else really gets an opportunity to do.
Like
It
I
kind
said,
of go-
Space 1999 made
Right.
something like that.
Yes, I have. Have you? Have you seen the fan stuff with that?
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's amazing.
like Space 2099.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's to me that's what you need to do. it still remain reverent and respectful of the original source material without changing what it was that made that show so special. And the new generation had a problem with the original series being so cheesy. Brushing it up a little bit didn't detract from it in any way, shape, or form. And I think they were lucky in doing that. Same with TNG. I think they would benefit.
It could have gone very, very wrong.
I think they would benefit highly from DS9 doing the same. Could you imagine some of those battle scenes being brushed up?
Don't touch my DS9.
Oh, come on.
Don't touch my DS9.
Seriously, you don't want it?
I don't know.
Well, yeah,
I don't know because
DS9's a little bit different because they were starting to use computer graphics.
Yeah.
So that's how they were able to do that. But
and DS9 already had motion picture feel to it.
They wouldn't have to do as much. if they tried to do that now, they would not have to do as much as they would have with TNG and TOS. But if they wait another decade or so before they attempt it, then I think they can do even more with it. And
maybe
right now I think, although they don't have to do as much, I don't think. I also think it's for DS9, a lot of it still stands on its own.
I do too.
Fairly well. So I think it would be premature.
I am in favor of a rebooting of Voyager.
Oh my god! Did you see? Okay, did you see what Rick Sternbach posted in Facebook about Voyager? I'm flipping out. Okay, let me find out. All right,
while you're doing that, Mike, since there's some people here that are new and some that haven't been here in quite a while,
okay.
Very quickly explain your Edith Keeler theory.
Oh, God. Okay, so Edith Keeler is a temporal agent. And the reason why I think that is because she came across it almost knowing too much about the future. So I think she was actually sent back from the past or from the future into the past in order to kind of sort of make that happen or to set things on a certain path. And I think she was actually working for the bad guys. She was trying to destabilize everything.
Okay. Yeah, so you're saying she was an evil temporal agent.
I think so.
All right, I've got one better for you, Mike.
Okay.
In Enterprise, we had evil time guy, correct?
Yes.
Who was never explained who he was. They thank God they dumped that whole thing. But here's my thought. Edith Keeler, Romulan agent.
Certainly possible.
Here's my reasoning. She's hot.
Check.
She's smart.
Check.
And she's hot.
What else says Romulan other than she's hot?
Exactly. I got one word for that. Denatra.
Oh, there's no arguing. She's smart. She's hot. She's hot. Okay.
Exactly. Edith Keeler, Romulan agent. There you go. There you go, Al Rivera.
Romulan temporal agent.
There you go, Al Rivera. Make it happen.
We do need to briefly touch on what's going on in Stowe too this week, but I really wanted to tell you that, okay, this week my friend Wayne Zachary posted a picture in his Facebook page to which Rick Sternbach replied. And it was about Voyager. Actually, it didn't start off being about Voyager, but it ended up being about Voyager. And Rick Sternbach had posted, it's likely you guys wouldn't be able to see this because it's on Wayne's personal page. So I wouldn't be able to share it with anybody who isn't his friend. But what it was a picture of the kind of mandala that had been in Voyager. Now, does everybody remember that Chakotay had these kind of visions or there was an episode where they had discussed like a symbol? It was later in the series.
Okay.
And that there was
the Valley of the something
that
people
there was
where the women
that
were.
There was, okay, so the thing is that Wayne had talked about this episode he was watching where Chakotay had been dealing with some of his heritage issues and had either a vision or something like that involved what looked like kind of a swirl with a couple of lines in it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
the stone thing.
right?
The rubber tree people. I think that's where we get the rubber tree people from.
Okay. Did you know that mandala was hanging in his quarters the entire series?
No.
What?
If you look, Rick Sternbach even said it. He goes, "Not very many people know it, but it was hanging in his quarters the entire season, the entire series. He always had a map home, and nobody knew it."
Interesting.
I shit a brick. I was like,
I hate that show even more now.
But it took them, what, 6 seasons to get to that point of actually introducing that about the character? That's
yeah,
sad.
and it was hanging in his fucking office the entire time.
I'm just going to get upset again because Chakotay is so... we talked about it last week. It just disgusts me.
Well, if anything, I think it makes it more tragic and kind of more cool in that the one thing
I
Chakotay
could see
always
that
had a
happening.
problem with was his own heritage, and it was the ignorance and the kind of refusal to really get into it and to delve deep into his own heritage that probably kept him from seeing what that was on his wall.
Can I tell you something about Voyager that's really funny?
What?
Here's a testament to Kristen Byers' writing skill and how much I love her Voyager novels. I was remembering something from Voyager totally that I absolutely loved, and then I realized it was from her novels. It wasn't from the TV show.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. It's
I do love the novels.
I'm so excited she's on Discovery. I really am. I'm so excited that
She
she's
has
on
such a fun
Discovery.
interview.
Well, we do have a little bit of Stowe news before we wrap things up for the day.
I want to play a Star Trek game. Gaming news.
And that is starting next week. We do get the new season 12, coming out. What's it called, Mikey? Starts with an R. Oh my God.
Retribution,
No, that's something else.
I'm looking for it.
Rapscallions,
I know.
Rhododendrons.
Rhododendrons.
Oh man, my mind is blanking. Let me open up a link.
I have it right here.
1 second.
Mike, hold on.
I
Yeah,
know.
I'm opening up a link
Reckoning.
as well.
Reckoning. Thank you.
And I have to give credit where credit is due. That's because Steve put it to us yesterday. So
Yay.
Steve gave us the answer. Oh, by the way, our audience doesn't know
Oh.
about what 2017 is for me, Terry. 2017 is the year that I am nice to Steve.
Oh, that's right.
It has lasted 3 weeks now. It's painful. It hurts.
I call
But-
good things.
But Steve is a good guy, and I will be nice to.
Uh-huh.
Steve and I are playing chess on phone now.
Well, we did briefly. We talked last week about the image of the new Zen Kathy.
Zen
Zen Kathy.
Wasn't that a song by the Four Seasons? Zen Kathy. No?
I don't think so.
I'll just be over here. Son says, just wait until Steve is present, then it'll crumble.
What did he say?
Steve's son said, just wait till Steve is present, then it'll crumble. Nope, I'm going to be nice to Steve.
But
it does
so
crumble, it will be
so season
spectacular.
12 does get released next week on the 27th, I believe.
26th Thursday.
26th,
Yes,
somewhere in there.
6, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, I thought Kojiro was coming in here to say something, but I guess not.
Papa.
He says, "Papa." You don't want to know what he just did.
He gave me the finger, didn't he?
Actually, no, he did the sign for love.
No, he didn't.
He totally did.
Aww.
It was a big squeezy hug from Alan to you.
Aw.
Both. Oh, to me? Oh, it was to me. Screw you two.
We're falling apart.
I know.
He just
So-
humors the rest of us.
Oh, squeeze. So the new the featured episode will be released as well. It's called Of Signs and Portents. Someone is calling down the terrible destructive power of proto-matter on the frontier in the Alpha Quadrant, not far from Lucari space. What is unclear is who or why, although I think we know now. The recently completed Lucari flagship under the command of Captain Kumarki featuring our favorite person, Kipley Brown, is prepared to travel
Hi,
to the edge of
Kipley.
known space. Together with members of the Alliance, including the legendary Klingon General Rodek, the Lucari are determined to unravel the mystery. So we get to go back out with the Lucari and probably trip over some Zen Kathy while we're out there. Excited about this. I love new content in Star Trek Online. It's pretty much the only time I get to play. I'm just not a ship collector, guys. Can't help it. Never have been. I'm still in my escort carrier. I love that thing.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nope. So yay. Now, did anybody have any specific questions about Star Trek Online? I think Jay may have. What about you, Mikey? You're gonna play it when it comes out, I'm assuming?
Most likely.
Yeah. Most likely. It's like, seriously, it's like, yay, new actual character-based content. That's when I play. I have although I do have to say, Alan and I did create a PS4 character.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, and Alan's having trouble flying it, right?
It was. We still have a problem with the camera, but it looks like we may have figured out how to work that. So we're going to try it again. The problem with the PS4 when we first started it, when he was trying to fly in the tutorial, was that the ship would disappear off the screen because the camera was focused in a different direction. It didn't follow the ship. It doesn't.
What?
It doesn't. Well, the camera doesn't follow the ship, right? You know how in PC you can set
Yes.
your camera to follow the back of your ship, so you're always facing forward. It doesn't do that in PS4.
Oh, that's a pain.
It's kind of a pain. So he was having a very difficult time figuring out where his ship was, and there was no way to change it in the options. So if somebody
Oh.
knows how to do it, I think it's something that you have to press on the toggle, on the right toggle, but we're trying to figure that out. We're also hearing that it might be a bug, so I need to figure out what that is. So he hasn't played it since until we can figure out how we can get the camera to follow the ship, because when you're turning to face an enemy, your camera's facing the opposite direction. You don't know. It's just crazy.
That's got to make it hard during a
It
battle.
really, really is hard. So yeah, but we did. We have a PS4 account now for it as well. So I'm kind of excited about that because
I gotta tell you,
I'm
I'm
thinking
having
it might be
Kipley
good for me.
withdrawals.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I miss a lot of people. Oh, I do have some news though. We packed up all of the stuff and it's in boxes now.
I saw a picture.
And they have addresses on them and everything for all of the people who donated for our 24
November.
hours of G&T. Your prizes, the gifts that you receive for your donations that you get, they are now boxed and ready to go. They will be mailed out on Monday, with the exception of this. Posters. If you guys received posters from us, we're trying to find a better way to mail those out. The tubes that I had were too short for a lot of those posters, and they will follow at a later date. There was a real big run on boxes at the post office before Christmas, and
Shocker.
they just, yeah, right, exactly. So for me to get those boxes now, they're done. They're all boxed up, and there is one other person who won the Star Trek Risk game, that we have to find a better box for you for that gift. So that person, that one didn't go out quite yet, but everybody else, your stuff, I hate to say it, your stuff's in the mail. So yay, I'll take those down to the post office on Monday and pay for them so they get out. They're all priority mail, with the exception of our two wonderful donors in Australia. That will come international, and God knows how long that will take. So yay. Mikey, you
Right
doing
on.
okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Any other topics or announcements?
I'm looking at the show notes real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We just felt.
I know, we're all zoning out to
fell
this GIF
completely off
that
the
Sun has
tracks.
posted in the chat room, and we're all like, okay, towards the end of the show, and they got the Wiggle Butt Kitty and the Wiggle Butt Shack and
Yeah,
the
I
Wiggle
don't need
Butt
the shack.
Robot.
Don't need the shack.
Who is it?
No, I said I don't need the shack.
Oh,
I could stare at the kitty all day long.
I know. And the Durf dog. He's very sweet. Yay.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Mike's good.
Mike's
Mike,
good.
I looked
Gates
out.
of
There's a lot of
Stovecore?
notes, so I
Yeah.
was looking through them all, and that's what took so long.
No, that's okay.
Any word on Gates, Mike?
Put him on the spot.
I have no idea.
That's okay. Well, we do thank you guys for listening. That kind of wraps it up for our show for today. Once again, we did, by the way, I think we did receive this week a couple of Ask Daytons.
Yes, and they've been forwarded to Dayton. He has acknowledged the first one. The second one came in rather a lot more recently.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's seen it or not. But yeah, there's possibly 2 of them if he accepts them. We'll see.
Nice. Great. And once again, if you do want to ask Dayton a question, please send it to hosts@gntshow.com. You are also welcome to leave us a voicemail by hitting that button on the right-hand side of our website. Don't forget, if you do leave us a voicemail message, however, there is a very real possibility we will actually play it on the air. So if you don't want your voice to be heard, don't leave us a voicemail. Just send us an email.
And oh shit.
Ross says Gates is working on some new casting. It's caused a bit of a delay.
No doubt. And
he's pretty much in charge of it at the moment. So,
yeah. Is there any Gettysburg addresses coming up, Nick?
There's something I had talked with John Jackson Miller, Dave Galantner, and Dayton about doing. I just need to reach out to them.
Great.
About sitcoms.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Straight Out Gallifrey should be recording a new episode next week.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. And again, if you guys have specific questions about Axanar, I think that from now on, if you want to ask something about that, it would be best if you send them over to our wonderful friends over at Semantic Shenanigans. That's the focus of this amazing podcast. They are talking about the collision of business and fandom, and Axanar is definitely one of those, as is the new Seuss case, along with a couple of others. Please, please, please head over to semanticshenanigans.com and support them. We love you guys very much, and until next time, live long and prosper.
Kabla.
What number?
Oh, 265.
Jolan True Bitches, GNT 265.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5 Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Grethor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my yo man. Represent the human race. And we make this a happy place. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy free galaxy. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with me. There'll be no cons or Kobe.